Hello everyone. So today I wanted to cover Gabby's Petito case. I don't know if you can hear me. My computer shows that it should be working, but for some reason I couldn't hear myself on live. Oh, I have my sound turned off. Okay, then yeah, I already watched it, and well, I just don't know. I have no words for this. Okay, let's watch it. I'm actually following this case for 12 days now, or 13 days. I remember first hearing about it just before she was found, maybe the same day, or it was right before we found her. Okay, yeah, I already watched this and I just can't. These cops were, you know, it's not nice to call them misogynistic, but especially that one that was talking so much, he was like in the spotlight.
How's
like,
it going?
How are you doing?
Good. Hey, we got a call about a male hitting a female and the two of them getting in this vehicle and taking
Look at
off.
his reaction.
I don't want to try and defend myself by saying anything here, but I pushed her away. She gets really worked up, and when she does, she swings, and she had her cell phone in her hand, so I was just trying to push her away. But
He gives off this vibe like autistic, narcissistic, manipulative, just like a smoke, like I don't know. Once I saw his,
Sage medical, no snow. We need to head that
even
way.
before knowing this case, I saw this picture of him, and I was like, he looks like a man that would kill a woman somewhere outside and just leave her. And then I found out that was the truth. I remember there was this incident where a woman wanted to leave her boyfriend and he threw her from the
and his right eye.
mountain or something in the woods.
Oh, she is in here.
Yeah, I just don't like his body language at all.
Yeah. Hey, how are you? My name's Eric. I'm with Moab Police. What's your name?
Gabby.
Gabby, how old are you?
I'm 22.
What happened? What's going on?
I'm just having a very stressed morning.
Yeah. Is this your husband or boyfriend?
My fiance.
Is he a pretty good guy?
Yeah.
What happened over at Moonflower?
Well, I was just really stressed this morning trying to get a lot of work done.
You see, he was asking her like, what happened at this cafe or whatever, motel? Was it not motel? I think motel. Because there were a few stories like they were at a cafe or motel, and I was like, what did you say?
Is he a pretty good guy?
Yeah.
What happened over at Moonflower?
Oh, he didn't say what it was. Moonflower. Let's see, what is Moonflower? Motel or cafe? Wait, maps is here. Moonflower, Utah, I think. Moab. No, it's Moonflower Canyon. Not Canyon. Cooperative, maybe? Yeah. So it was a grocery store. Oh, I thought it was like a motel or something. Cooperative. Grocery store, okay. Okay.
Well, I was just really stressed this morning trying.
You see, she kind of deflects. He asked what happened at Moonflower, and she was like, oh, this morning, she kind of tries to deflect, like, what happened. I saw Bran doing this too, but he just puts the blame on her right away, and she tries to avoid telling, like, what happened. But it feels like she's afraid to get in trouble for him, and he's just like brushes all away and, oh, she's worked up, like, and these hand gestures, I'm just like, he throws me off so much. I disliked the guy once I saw his picture. Like, I don't know, but I feel this bad vibe. No, I have been on so many dates, I was talking to so many men, and I already know this type of guy he is, He just fits this profile, like manipulative, sociopathic, antisocial, just that type, maybe slightly autistic. He probably has some Asperger's or something. I don't know. I just don't like this Brian guy at all.
To get a lot of work done, and I was apologizing.
And when I'm looking at her, like, she couldn't beat anyone. Like, she doesn't look like a person she would beat anyone without any reason. Like, she actually looks very calm. I don't get any type of bad vibe from her, people that have some kind of borderline disorders or how's it called, bipolar, they have this manic, maybe he does have any sort of bipolar, some kind of disorder, I don't know, but I just think he's a psychopath, really. And she, like, come on, like, look at her acting, like, look at her, how she acts, like, you could tell she's defenseless, like, she looks like, an abducted girl would act exactly like her. Like, if they found her in a desert somewhere, she's so traumatized that I don't know how these cops didn't pick on it, like, and they were like, oh, you're aggressor. What? It's like these cops hate women or something, because it's just, he saw she had a bruise, you see here, she has quite a lot of tan, but still you could see it from even it just, it's insane. It's really dark, even you can see it through the tan. Well, imagine if she didn't have this tan, then it would look awful.
I had thrown a bunch of stuff in the bag, and all our bags are back there. And I was just apologizing. I was like, I'm sorry that I get so stressed out because I have OCD, and I was just like organizing stuff, and sometimes I just have a mean attitude.
You see, she says, like, he asked what what they did in Moonflower, and she started talking about her OCD, and her stepfather said like she has no diagnosed OCD or anything. He just said like she is, she likes to tidy things up, that's all. Like probably most women. And there was a thing, these cops looked at the van behind the seats, and things were just broken. Everything was broken. That tells me Brian did that. He was just mentally playing with her. It's just, he would throw things like all around, tries to take her phone, tries to get her out of her van. It's not his van. People said that he was on the insurance, but like, and the thing that he stole her credit card after she was killed tells me that he had no money of his own. He basically was he was sucking of her wallet. Just, that tells me she paid for everything, for food, for gas, for maybe for even his clothes. It's insane.
But I'm not trying to be mean about straightening things up and stuff, so I was
Like, she's mean, but he just threw all the things in the back of a van. Like how these cops, oh my god, I just can't. These cops are not qualified at all. I'm not a cop, I'm not a psychologist, and it's just clear to me, like, if she tidy things up and the van is all trashed, like, put two together and just... And when he saw bruises, like, he should take Brian into custody. And he was just like, Brian is a victim. I'm like,
just apologizing, but I guess I said it in like a
I
mean
just couldn't
tone,
believe
and
it.
he got really frustrated with me, and he locked me out of the car and told me to go take a breather, but I didn't want to take a breather, because I wanted to get going, we're out of water.
So it kind of made you more upset.
Yeah,
It didn't help calm you, it made you more upset.
yeah, and
So then what happened?
and so
I cannot look how she took all the blame. Like, why would she do that? But yeah, I would understand, like, at 22, it's probably her first, in quotes, relationship with this bastard. These psychopaths just become women like that, He sees that she has a good heart, she takes everything on her, he can belittle her. These types of psychopathic man feels your energy, and he says, like, he might try to test you, like, say little things, and over time he tries to abuse you more and more and more, and as we can see in this video, at this point he probably even tried to kill her in this van, but police intervened. I'm really sure if she even had to use her keys to fight him off, that means that he was basically almost killing her. This is insane. He was speeding 30 miles plus than the limit. It seems to me that he tried to take her somewhere in the woods and just kill her there. This could have been avoided, but cops, oh man, American cops, like,
our goal was to come here and come refill our water.
Are you guys living out of the van right now? On travels?
Yeah.
I will
Okay.
speed this up.
And so it was just really.
So what happened after he locked you out? I told you to take a breather.
Well, he walked away to go take his own breather, but I wanted to sit in the car because all my stuff was in the car. I had to run my bag. I was working on something at the moment in the car, and he told me to just relax for a second, and I didn't want to relax, so I got really mad. And, I mean, I don't need to be mad.
Yeah, that happened.
So
Then what happened?
she basically told him that he started it. She was working on something in the van and he threw her away just for no reason. Okay, and the cop really thought it was okay? Like, and the thing is, they were speeding. Like, why Brian wasn't... Why they didn't issue, not warrant, but a ticket for speeding, or why they didn't take him in, didn't do a breathalyzer test and nothing. Like, I cannot believe it. Oh, Brian is a victim, we are not going to ticket him. Oh, like, I don't know. Please tell me in the comments. Is it like a Utah thing, or it's just like typical American cop thing? Because this is just insane. Like, she basically told him everything from the start. She was working on something and he just threw her away, threw her out. And the initial report of the witness was like that he was hitting her. So like, why don't you listen to the witness? And you see the marks on her face. Oh my god.
And then I told him to drive and get water because I was really thirsty.
Yeah? Is there something on your cheek here? Looks like, did you get hit in the face? Kind of looks like something.
I said this moment, did you get hit in the face? And she was, and she's like scared to tell him. She looks like a 7-year-old, I don't know, like abused 7-year-old that is afraid to tell that her like dad is beating her or something. Just like
Hit you in the face. And then over on your arm, shoulder.
and she's like, oh mom, you know, like she doesn't say no at first, and she's thinking what to say. Of course he beat her up, like, come on, look at her arm, all red, even you can see it through this dark tan. Look at his hand and look at her, like how tan she is. And even then you can see this like huge red mark. You know, you wouldn't, you could only do it by like dragging her around to make a mark like this. Like, it's insane. You know, and if she was an instigator, she wouldn't be crying. Like, look at him, it's like annoyed that police stopped him, then he tried to laugh and she's like crying. Once I saw it, and I was like, well, it's like 1 and 100. It's not normal. Like, how police doesn't see it? If a Brian was like abused and everything, why he is not crying? Why is he laughing and she's crying? If she was an abuser, she would be aggressive, spitting at cops and everything. Like, this is just upwards. I couldn't see, I couldn't look at this like footage. Like,
Right here? That's new, huh? It's kind of a new mark.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Can I see the other side of your face? So, what happened here and here?
I'm not sure. It was a...
he said like, what happened here and here? And she was like, I'm not sure. Oh man, like, she was safe in a police car. She had to tell them, like, she would be safe. She calls her parents. I don't remember if I saw the whole video, but somebody said that she told that Brian had her phone or something. So, man, like, I really don't know, like, how she ended up with this loser, like, sicko. Oh, man. Imagine how many women like this there are in the world, and
First name
It
Brian.
happened really fast. I was just trying to get in the back of the car and his backpack was on the
Lima
back.
Alpha Uniform.
Got me.
November.
So the
so yeah, he just asked her like, what are these marks, and she started talking about the backpack, and like, she definitely defending him, like, why? Oh, man.
the backpack gotcha. So there's two people.
And she said, like, backpack bruised her face? Like, are you kidding me? Like, that doesn't even make any sense.
People that came to us and told us that they saw him hit you. There's two people saying that they saw him punch you. We're just independent witnesses by Moonflower.
Well, to be honest, I definitely hit him first.
She's like, I hit him first. Like, what for? Yeah, if he threw her out of the van, I would understand. But the witness later told the police officer that she was like flailing hands and she wasn't like aggressive and stuff. So imagine your husband tries to throw you away from the house you paid for with a kid. Like, what you're gonna do, you know? This is insane. I just...
Where'd you hit him?
I slapped him in the face.
You slapped him first, and then what, just on his face?
You get to tell me to shut up.
How many times did you slap him?
Did she say he told her to shut up? Wait.
You slapped him first, and then what, just on his face?
You get to tell me to shut up.
How many times did you...
I couldn't get it. But she's basically saying that he started it, so...
You slap
Bravo
him?
Romeo India Alpha November.
There's a couple.
And then what? And then his reaction was...
She was like, couple maybe. Like, she doesn't even know because she didn't do it.
To do what?
Look at this. You know, I would notice, like, myself, if maybe I'm trying to think of something, I would look at the right side. Like, I don't know, but to me this look is like, what to say, like, she's like pushed in the corner and she doesn't want to tell the truth, but like, why? She was safe in this police car. Like, Brian, that sicko, couldn't do anything at this point.
Yeah, I around him so I wouldn't slap him.
He just grabbed you?
Yeah.
Did he hit you though? I mean, it's okay if you're saying you hit him, and then I understand if he hit you, but...
Look, you see this, I don't know if it's a gesture or something, but like, you know, when people press their mouth, they just don't want to tell the truth, or they just, yeah. You know, when you do something and there are consequences, so you're afraid, like, oh, they caught me, and I'm like, you know, when you're very scared, or like you do this kind of lip biting thing.
We want to know the truth if he actually hit you.
I
'Cause, you know-
guess, yeah, but I...
She's like, I guess. Of course he did it, come on. And she's like, but I did it first. Like, she tries to... Man, like, I just can't. That Brian is Such a sicko.
First.
Where did he hit you? Don't worry, just be on.
And he's like, where did he hit you? And she doesn't want to admit that he's a disgusting scumbag, abuser, like a killer.
He like grabbed my face, like, I guess.
Like grabbed her face, like. He's a sicko. I bet he tried to grab her throat as well. That was my like first thought, because like if somebody's like strangling you, what would you do? You would just hit him to her face with your keys or something, and that's what she did. You know, because if you know, fighting off a person with a kiss is the last resort, so he definitely did something extreme. Like, look at her bruise, look at her cheek. I couldn't actually see it, but she said later that it was burning.
He didn't like hit me in the face, like he didn't like punch me in the face or anything.
Did he slap your face or what?
Well, like he like grabbed me like with his nail, and I guess that's why it looks. I definitely have a cut right here because I could feel it
Yeah.
when I touched it.
He even cut her face with his finger. Can you imagine how much force it took him to do this? This is sick. Like, try with your own hand. Like, I don't know how hard you have to. Oh man, she was abused for so long. I bet.
Burns.
Okay. So has he been drinking?
No, we don't drink.
Okay. What was up with his driving? This officer said he hit a curb.
I
While you're driving?
well, he was driving.
While he was driving, you were hitting him?
Well, I'm not.
You see, she couldn't even make a story because she's making everything up to cover for this disgusting scum. Man. Why she didn't tell the parents? Like, they let their daughter to live with a man they didn't even know who he was. Like, oh man.
A lot, but yeah.
But that was distracting him while he's driving? Are you
Not only for like a second, but only because I saw the lights come on, and I like kind of like.
Did you already tell him all this?
I didn't get that far into
Okay,
it.
so
She was hyperventilating.
She's
a
saying
little
that they don't drink, but at the point when you lit them up,
You don't drink or anything.
She started hitting him.
I was yelling at him, and then when you
And-
turned your lights on, I like kind of punched his arm like there's an idiot.
she's saying was why he hit the curb. You said it was Gabby? I'm sorry, I'm really bad. Name was Gabby.
Yeah.
You okay, Gabby?
Yeah.
Do you have medication for anxiety you take or anything? Do you take any medication?
Like, what kind? Yeah, I really didn't like this cop because he would always cut her off, give suggesting like answers, like making stuff up. Oh, you were distracting him, yeah? Like, do you take meds? Yeah, you're so anxious. And you're like, I don't know how he assumed that she was like crazy or something. He was, look at her bruise. This is huge. Like, it's like he was like taking her arm and just dragging her. And he assumed that she was like a psycho or something. Like, this is insane. After he saw these bruises, after he learned that he threw her away from their van, he didn't even ask whose the van was. Like, if he sees this as normal, then I don't know what he does with his girlfriend or wife or whatever.
Medication for any?
I just do yoga and
Try to meditate and stuff?
Like, a girl who does yoga Like, come on. I feel like Brian told her like, "Oh, you have OCD. You're worthless. You're stupid. You know how these psychopathic men are talking." She was basically his like slave, his not fugitive, his hostage. This is.
But you tend to have a lot of anxiety and stress.
I have a lot of anxiety.
And what's his name?
OCD.
Is it Brian?
Why wouldn't she have an anxiety? Like, he is beating her up every day, I guess. Like, come on. And how this cop is just putting words in her mouth. Okay, I just can't. He sounds so cocky, like, "Oh, I know it all." Like, "Oh, you're this, you're that." And she couldn't even answer. And he just assumes, like, "Oh, I know the situation."
Is he usually pretty patient with you?
Yeah, but it just makes me upset. I know that he definitely gets frustrated with me a lot because I have a lot of anxiety and he definitely has anxiety too.
Well, that could be a bad combo if you both have anxiety. You know, I have anxiety too, and you know, my girlfriend, my girlfriend's really, really calm, and she has a way of taking my anxiety and bringing it down. But my ex-wife, that's why she's my ex-wife. I'm just sharing. I know it's a little personal, but to help you understand, we would feed off.
Oh man, he started with his ex-wife. Oh man, then why you would marry a person you don't like? Like, oh man, that cop is so cocky. I couldn't listen.
Off each other's anxiety, and it would spiral. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter how
He's
much I
an
love
expert,
her.
of course.
It may be bad for your soul.
She's dead
Just
now.
saying. I'm not telling you what to do with your life, but if you know you have anxiety, look at the situations you can get in. You know what I mean?
Like, she did. So he tells me that she got beat up because she was anxious, or she was anxious and that's why. Wait, doesn't even make sense. Okay, you're anxious, so you're gonna get beat up. Like, what?
And we're not here to be mean to you or anything. Well, you know, there's a first time, and then it usually. We'll go see what Brian's saying, but I think you've heard everything now from.
Quick question. You said you were hitting him in the arm. Did you practice?
She was hitting him in the arm. She didn't say she was hitting him. She was like, He threw her out of her van. Come on. He didn't even listen. Like, how did it started? No.
You want to come stand in the shade? Speaking of volleyball, man. Yeah, I know the struggle. So you don't drink or anything?
Look at him, like, she's crying and stuff, and he's just, oh yeah, I'm a Hollywood celebrity or something. He loves the attention. He's like, once I saw her and him, it's like completely opposite. He's like ecstatic. He's like, oh man, this is the best day ever. I won $1 million. Oh my god. But you know, his laughter and everything, it's just like, to me it's like seeing everything, knowing everything, even before knowing everything. Yeah, I think first time I saw this footage was before finding her, but of course I assumed she was dead, because like, if she wasn't, she would go back to her family, borrow a phone of someone. Of course he killed her. Even seeing this for the first time, I assumed there was something bad about him. He's just like, his like mood, like his gestures, like this laughter. He's like manic or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
So you
got
were
a
talking to
very
these
bad
officers. I don't mean to butt in. I just
psycho
felt kind of bad for you. Maybe if you stand here, you'll have more shade.
I don't want to be
Right?
a weirdo ducking down, but
No, I know how it is.
Kind of
Very
big sombrero.
odd.
Well, from when I first got here, we were more worried about what kind of a guy you are from what we heard.
You see how you see his reaction when they kind of try to abuse. No, not abuse. When they said like, oh, we didn't know what kind of guy you were, and he was just like, I don't know, but I feel that he has lots of rage, lots of like, I think he's like a social person. He just has zero emotions and he was just angry inside, you know. He likes to control things. That Gabby's friend has told that he was like taking her ID. He's like a, I don't know, borderline. He maybe has borderline personality because he's like laughing, like his mood is changing so fast. He's just like has 20 masks. I don't know.
When
He's
I'm
just
talking
like,
to your girlfriend, it sounds to me like maybe this is not so clear.
look, and he's looking at her. He's like, don't even try to tell anything.
So, did you
Look at his, I think he's mad. Look at his lips and like, I don't get any good feeling.
already give a
from it.
statement to this officer?
And he's looking back at her.
I got this gentleman here.
Yeah. And this gentleman noticed that you had some marks on your neck. Yeah. And she's got some marks on her too. We're just trying to figure out what all happened.
And he said like she has marks on her too, and
And
he
I know
was
you
like,
probably
oh man, I will get arrested.
already told your story. But this officer's
You see, his laughter has gone at this
probably going to
point.
be the one handling the whole case. You want to?
He's very, I don't know, at this point he's like,
You want to listen to what he has to say?
you see, he's not laughing anymore after he told about her bruises too, about her marks or whatever he has said.
Yeah. And then you tell him
You see, he's not laughing at this point because he actually thought he is going to jail.
what happened. Wait, if you don't mind.
Start at the beginning for me.
See if it sounds the same.
I'm gonna check my car, get this noise out here.
Oh, it doesn't. No, leave your office on.
For the past
Could be hot
week or so that went around. And the flies here like being intense.
Why is he talking about flies? Like, it's like there's definitely something wrong with him. It's like with his brain, it's not like clicking in the right place. Really, they're talking about everything else, but he's like talking about flies. When he asked if he hit her, he said like, oh, she had a phone. Like, what? Did you hit her or not? Like, she had a phone. Like, what? It's like there is like memory jumps in his head. Like, he's talking about one thing and then he jumps to a completely different thing. His like brain is all over. He's like, yeah, like kind of manic or I don't know. He has psychosis or something. I don't know. Really odd guy. Really, something like that. And even one of the cops asked him if he is using something because he was so hyper. Yeah, I picked up on that. I'm like,
Food around a little bit
Thank you. Oh no, apparently they don't even drink. She said that he hit the curb because when Officer Roberts turned his lights on, she started punching him. Because
Like, he changed the story. He said to this woman, after she saw the cop's lights, she started hitting him or punching him. And she's like laughing.
because of the trouble. Yeah, he can drink some water. Thanks.
What are you even talking about? Like, he changed the story. I can't.
Doesn't seem super cold, but maybe. You want Gatorade? You want water? I got some water.
Yeah, do you want water?
Prefer water?
I'm sorry, I only drink water.
I don't blame you.
Who's this cop? Oh man, I saw he has a beard. Oh, this probably motorcyclist.
Oh, here. She says that she can only drink water.
Are you worried about her story? Like,
I'm so
No, you can talk to her.
confident.
She seems like a really sweet girl, 22 or something, has a lot of anxiety, and from what she's claiming, she's the full-on aggressor here.
Yeah, you could see his face. He is bald too. He has a beard. Oh man, these like rocker types.
I'd love to go talk to the individual.
Yeah, he doesn't. He looks like Finnish type of facial features.
witnesses, and maybe that's what I'll go do.
So cocky. Oh my
Yeah, there's a couple
god.
waters. Here's this bag, because you might need that for someone else.
I wouldn't like to meet a cop like this. Like, oh man, I could do much better work than you. Look at that Brian. He's definitely a loser. Bald at 23 years old. He looks like 45. He has zero money. Has no job. Lives with his parents. Takes his girlfriend's money in the van and tries to take her possessions. Controlling freak. Like, man.
Another key for rings.
And even these sandals, like, oh man, he looks like a homeless dude.
Rings, phone. And I was on the pieces. I didn't want to go anywhere. And my big fear is, I don't have my phone. I don't have a phone. So she goes off without me. But it's all right. I'm on my own.
He has
So
no.
I was able to go for a walk. And she was trying to get the keys for me. So I was just going, just wait back up. And that's what she did. I mean, I didn't give. I don't want to push you. I didn't give it completely physical. I'm just trying to keep her away and not get hit. And then I got really loud and I just like fear of attention. I was going. Back up, get away, just get me.
Okay, so you said you pushed her to create some distance, obviously, right? What happened after that? What happened after
Okay, Google.
I think if this cop wasn't on the scene, because he changed the story so many times, like he said to his this female police officer or a ranger, whatever, said, oh, when she saw the lights, she started punching him. Like, she didn't even say that. Like, what? He basically... Oh man, he definitely hates women. He hates all women. Maybe not hates, but like, oh woman, I hate you. You're just for sex and giving birth to kids. I bet he has like 5 kids. Ugh. Or 5 abortions. What is he?
My friend, off the street, near the 430,
Oh, that's the call when he called this witness.
and I just noticed that this couple was sort of arguing a bit, and I wasn't staring at them, but it did catch my attention, and what I noticed is it seemed like they were sort of squabbling over a phone. I want to say that he was trying to grab her phone, and I'm not sure exactly why, and then it seems like he had sort of blocked the one side of the van and sort of wasn't letting her in, and then the male was stepping into the driver's seat, and she was trying to get into the van, and he said something about why you didn't know me, something like that, and I remember he sort of hit him a few times, and it wasn't like slugs in the face, but just kind of like two kids kind of fighting. They remind me of very secure, I don't know, children sort of fighting, but there seemed like something was off, like a weird vibe, and eventually it seemed like, she crawled into the driver's seat, sort of like got into the vehicle over his lap, sort of forced her way in, I guess, and then they were in the car, and they just drove away. So I wasn't sure what the nature of the argument was or what. It just seems like there was some sort of disagreement and some sort of like shutting. I don't know why she would have entered through the driver's door. I thought that was strange. And so I thought about calling it in, but I soon as I walked up to the bar, there was another gentleman who was already calling it in, so I was like, oh, good on you. That seemed a bit off. I wasn't sure what to do in that situation, but that's what I saw, and if there's any other specific questions, I'm happy to try to answer.
Did you ever see the male strike the female?
I would say that I think I saw maybe a push or a shove, but not like a full-on punch to the face or anything.
Was the shove like was the shove or push an aggression towards her, or was it a defensive maneuver away from her, or to get her away from him?
That's a good question. It was unclear what was going on to me, but it did seem like he was. It seemed like he was trying to close off the passenger side of the vehicle and close things up. It almost seemed like he put that backpack or something on the back of the vehicle. I'm not sure. And then he was stepping in and she was out trying to get in. So maybe.
Okay.
I don't. It was the whole
So
thing.
he just said that he tried to get her out of the van. And the cop was like, oh, she attacked him. Like, really?
Was off. And so,
Do you even have a brain? Like,
no, I didn't.
what?
Yeah, it was like him chasing after her or hitting her.
I don't know, like, the sound is very bad. I only can hear with my one earphone. Let's... maybe... I don't know if it's full body cam video.
She says that she can only drink water.
Are you worried about her story? Like, should I...
No, you can talk to her. She seems like a really sweet girl, 22 or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch this video instead because I could only hear with one earphone on that other video and I don't know what was the case. What is this? Maybe I will speed things up so we don't spend like 5 hours watching this.
And I wasn't staring at them, but it did catch my attention. And what I noticed is it seemed like they were sort of squabbling over a phone. I want to say that he was trying to grab her phone. And I'm not
Yeah, like he wanted to take her phone away. Maybe she tried to call the police. Yeah, I think she tried to call the police. Probably, or her parents. Can you see, he's a sicko. He's just like... I wonder if he killed more people before, because like, wow. He's insane. He tried to take her phone away, and police thinks it's nothing. He just showed his like controlling behavior, his like rage episodes, like I don't know. I actually think he has like a borderline personality disorder. That Brian or something. He's definitely a psychopath. His borderline disorder and maybe like who knows what else. Like, why he didn't ask Gabby like why he tried to take your phone, like why he tried to like...
not sure exactly why. And then it seemed like he had sort of blocked the one side of the van and sort of wasn't letting her in. And then the male was stepping into the driver's seat. And she was trying to get into the van. I think he said something about why you being so mean, something like that. And I remember she sort of hit him a few times. And it wasn't like slugs in the face, but just kind of like...
He said she wasn't trying to hit him hard. Is he for real? He tried to take her phone, maybe she even took her phone, threw her out of her own car, and she says like, why you're so mean? Like, he's definitely like, there's something wrong with his brain. Definitely like has Asperger's.
like kind of like...
You know, usually men with Asperger's have zero feelings. Ugh.
like two kids kind of fighting. they remind me of very mature, I don't know, children sort of fighting. But there seemed like something was off, it seemed like a weird vibe. And yeah, eventually, he's like, you know, she crawled into the driver's seat, sort of like got into the vehicle over his lap, sort of forced her way in, I guess. And then they were in the car, and then they just drove away. So I wasn't sure what the nature of the argument was or what. It just seemed like there was some sort of disagreement and some sort of like shutting. I don't know why she would have secret through the driver's door. I thought that was strange. And yeah, so I thought about calling it in, but as soon as I walked up this bar, there was another gentleman who was already calling it in. So I was like, oh, good on you. That seemed a bit off. I wasn't sure what to do in that situation. But that's what I saw. And if there's any other specific questions, I'm happy to try to answer.
Did you ever see the male strike the female?
I would say that I think I saw maybe a push or a shove, but not like a full-on punch to the face or anything.
Was the shove like was the shove or push an aggression towards her, or was it a defensive maneuver away from her or to get her away from him?
That's a good question. It was unclear what was going on to me, but it did seem like he was. It seemed like he was trying to close off the passenger side of the vehicle and close things up. It almost seemed like he put that backpack or something on the back of the vehicle. I'm not sure. And then he was stepping in and she was out trying to get in. So maybe,
Okay.
She was trying to get in. He was basically abusing her. The cop just heard it. And he said she was an aggressor. Really? He's definitely abusing her. He's like, oh man, he must hate women. Because like, what's the other explanation? Oh, cannot believe this. Tried to take her phone away. Locked her out. She was crying because she wanted to go into the van. She had no food, no water, no nothing. No wallet, no things. And the cop was like, oh, she was an aggressor. Like, the story is just like insane.
I don't. It was the whole thing was off, and so no, I didn't.
He said like all thing was off exactly. And the cop was like, oh, I figure everything out. Oh, I'm so smart. I'm a cop. Like, I have a badge. Like, my IQ is like 50,000. Like, man, I wanna cry. Oh man. I think if not this one cop, this bald birdie cop, I think other cops would have questioned the same guy and saw a completely different picture. Because I think he led the investigation. And he didn't, I think he didn't even listen to this man talking. He said that Gabby was crying to get in. He just said it. And he got some other picture, like Bren was actually abusing her, taking her phone away and everything, leaving her out. And he was like, it's like his brain is not working properly.
It was like him chasing after her or hitting her, or vice versa. It was kind of light, and they were almost kind of laughing, and I wasn't sure if they were just joking around, to be honest. But then it got more strange as he was in the vehicle, about to drive off.
But you did see her slapping him, though. It sounds like.
Yes, it was like my memory is he was in the driver's seat, and she has the driver's door open, and she's like kind of hitting him either in the arm or maybe on the face, maybe with an open hand, like, hey, let me in, don't be a jerk, something like that.
Okay. Well, your story is really, really helpful.
Yeah, she was like, let me in. So look, how she started it? He pushed her out of the car in the middle of nowhere. Like probably like 6,000 kilometers, 5,000 kilometers away from her home. And like 4,000 whatever. And he was like, oh, she started it. Like, what? Like you could actually see abuse going on. Like,
because you're an independent witness, and we've just interviewed both of them, and what you're saying is making everything make a lot of sense. So I really appreciate that.
Does it make sense? Like, yeah, Brian tried to take all her things, and she was crying, so like, it's very clear. I really don't know how he assumed Brian is the victim, like what? He must be on meth or something. I
ran into you, and I was able to get your number and talk to you, so thank you very much. If we need to...
Like, he tells him things that he threw her out of the van, and he's like, everything is so clear now. Really?
Ask for a written statement. Obviously, it's voluntary. It's helpful, but at this point, I don't know if we need to go that far unless you're around and super willing at this moment. I can meet you and get a statement.
Yeah, no, I live here, totally willing to do that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Maybe I'll just I can go write it down now before memory fades. Like I said, I was kind of just casually observing, but something did seem off, and just wanted to make sure that no one was in a bad situation. So.
Where can we find you to give you a form real quick? About 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, Robin. So I just got a phone with one of the two witnesses, and I recorded it. You want me to tell you what he said real quick? Do you mind hanging with him for a minute? So, this will get away from both of them. So, he said that he never saw the male strike the female. He saw...
Well, did he say that really? I think he said like he tried to do something to her too.
The male trying to lock her out of the vehicle.
Yeah, lock her out of her vehicle, whatever. That's a hard word. Vehicle, okay. So, isn't that a crime if it's her car and he tries to take her things away? Like... Man.
He even told us that he was trying to lock her out, told her to go take a walk. Said that she was trying to get in. She eventually couldn't get in and actually clawed her way in through the driver's door. He says, I don't understand why she's doing that. Well, I think it was the only door that wasn't locked that she could get through. So she's trying to get in over him. He's trying to disengage from her. I guess he hung her backpack on the back probably so she'd have her shit so that he didn't have to engage.
Like, how does it... Like, again... He makes everything up. Oh, it probably was this. It's probably... He's like, now he's creating a new story. Oh man, this... That cop likes theatrics. Like, this is not what the witness has said. Oh, he tried to disengage. No, he didn't say that. Like, that cop is so bad. Like, he's making stories and like, oh man, amazing that there are cameras, because he was like, he needs to get fired. Not because he did a bad job, he was basically creating a new story. He created the story that she attacked him. Like, first of all, he threw her out of her car. Locked her out with her things in it, without her phone, without anything, leaving her alone in the middle of nowhere. So I'm like, I think this cop is smarter, but since he talked to the... I think if he talked to the witness, he would get a completely different picture, because he was like, you know, there are men that are so dumb you could tell him and he just doesn't listen to you, you know. I experienced this with doctors. Oh man. Yeah, there were a few male doctors. I'm kind of talking to them and they just like, oh, she's female, whatever, like, they wouldn't even listen, you know, like, misogyny is a real thing.
Engage with her. Everything she's saying.
Like, he took her things so she wouldn't engage with him. Like, she didn't want him, she wanted her back. Like, he threw her out of her own car. Like, what?
Same thing. I haven't heard what he said, but if that's what he said, it's also what the witness is saying. The witness says, I never saw him hit her. I saw him shove her, but I couldn't tell if it was an aggression against her or a defense against her, as far as her, being the aggressor.
But he just saw her having a bruise on her arms, on her face. So like, you see these marks. And you still made the whole different story, like, oh, nothing had happened to her. Like, really? You just saw these marks on her face. He was definitely bruising her. Like, the bruise was burning her face from his nails. He was basically scratching her face. This is insane. I bet he was choking her at some point, probably in the car, where nobody could see them.
So at this point, unless the guy's screaming that he needs to go to jail and did something to this girl, it sounds to me like she is the primary aggressor.
Yeah.
Now the problem with
And he's like, yeah, oh man, this, like, oh man. I don't know, like, it's like they should get rid of male cops, all of them, and exchange them with female cops, because males are like, I don't want to call them dumb, but like, they're just like, how to explain it, they're just like, they have a brain of 10-year-old. They don't pick on emotion, they're just like animals. I don't know, even animals pick on emotion, and if they're like robots or something. Oh yeah, she was an aggressive, like what. They cannot even read between the lines and everything. They couldn't analyze. It feels like they became cops just to shoot people, just to be like a Batman or something. Oh man.
her being the primary aggressor.
Primary aggressor? Like, he said he locked her out of her van. How she's a primary aggressor? Like, what? This doesn't even make any sense.
In incidents of domestic assault,
Assault?
be it a male or be it a female, we shall arrest. Now,
She has
it doesn't
bruise
necessarily mean they
marks.
have to go to jail. We can do a citation
man.
if it meets one of the three criterion. One of them is that we can ensure that they're not going to further risk each other's safety. But the problem with that is they live in the same vehicle.
He's just talking
That's
and
what I was
talking
gonna
and
say.
talking.
And
He
there was
just
actually an
left
injury
it.
too. The victim, which is him.
Right, and I'm getting completely for you about why they hit the curb up here.
What did he say? Why he hit the curb?
Well, I watched, this is what I saw. Saw him cross the double yellow. I was doing 42 miles an hour. I was, I don't know, probably 2 car lengths behind him, tapping my whales at him, trying to get his attention. They knew I was behind him. And then after he crossed the double yellow, he merged over into the right lane, and then out of nowhere, just boom, went into the curb.
So did he tell you
And
why?
He said that she grabbed the wheel and turned it real hard. She said that she was hitting him in the arm. So,
Sounds legit. I mean, I'm sure if I'm driving in my
Legit to me. She said she punched him in the arm. Yeah, Brian was lying again. I bet he was lying.
arms on the wheel and I'm getting hit.
Because if she took the wheel, she would tell them. Because she already took the blame for his beating her. For his beating. So he made another lie,
In the arm,
of
I'm
course.
probably pulling out the wheel.
yeah.
And I'm sure it was a little of both. I mean, usually the truth is somewhere in between. He's probably trying not to say that he hit her because he probably doesn't want her charged with assault,
Yeah.
domestic assault. He probably would rather say she pulled the wheel than hit him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, come on. He made this up again. Like, I need to list all the things he lied about. Made a new story, like, oh, he probably made the story so she wouldn't come on, once you pull him over, he already accused her. So like, why he wouldn't accuse her right now of punching him? Like, really? Oh. Man, this man is making stories up one after another to stop. Just like, oh man. He makes all these stories. Oh, he probably did this. In the end, he said like, I don't have a crystal ball, but he acts like he has a crystal ball. Oh, I know this all. This happened, this happened, this happened. I don't think he's a detective or anything. Oh, man.
So, fortunately for her, we cannot, just because he's bigger and stronger, even if he's not willing to press charges, we can't treat this differently than if it was a male and female violence.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to charge her. And we can do a citation if there's some arrangement that can be made to separate them, and then we have to let them know that there's no contact order in effect. Yeah. And then we have to let him know the only way to drop it is to go into the police department during business hours and fill out a waiver, which, by the way, what's today? Thursday? Today. So it won't be till tomorrow. And they're only there till noon, I think. Yeah. Which I'm sure he's going to want to drop it.
And well, the other part of it is they said they've been on for 4 or 5 months that they've been living out of the ranch together.
Well, this is really bad.
I really don't know, like, why they didn't see anything wrong with him pushing her out of the car, taking her phone, and he just didn't pay any attention to these details. Her having a bruise, him just pressing his nails into her face, like, this is insane. Like, put all these details one after another together, and like, that's an abuse. Like, come on. How he doesn't even see it? Like, wow.
Bad news. Let's talk to him first. Yeah. His name's Brian. Did you ask him yet and take pictures of him? Yeah. No, okay. So Brian, unfortunately, in the state of Utah, we don't have discretion on some things. Like, for example, if I pull you over for speeding and I want to give you a warning, I can do that because it's under a Class A. It's a Class B or under. If I want to give you warnings for all kinds of stuff, I can. But there's a few things I can't. Like, when I say I, the police, I'm not charged with speeding. One of the things that the state
You see, he thinks he will be charged with a crime, so he is not laughing at this moment.
legislature doesn't give us discretion on is charges when it comes to a domestic assault. And it sounds like you guys are living together, so you meet the statute for domestic partners. And
you know, he is not laughing now. He thinks he's going to jail.
You do have injury, and both an independent witness.
I think his eyes are like, really?
Probably the next one we're going to talk to as well, which we haven't talked to yet, but the one we did talk to, and your own companion, have made it clear that she was the primary aggressor, and that she was striking you.
And he's like, what? His hints are subtle, but I think he was surprised because he knew he did something wrong. He, of course, was beating her up.
You received injuries. You haven't admitted to striking her. She has not admitted to striking you.
And he's like looking at this other cop. Really, you know, like
striking her. The witness did not see you strike her. So.
And he said like, witness didn't see you strike her, but there was like another witness that did see he slapped her 2 times. I don't know if it was like another witness or something. And he said both witnesses said the same thing. Like, no, I heard the police call, and he said like that man was like hitting this woman.
So at this point, you're the victim of a domestic assault.
And he's like, oh, you're the victim of domestic assault? Really? He took her van and he threw her out. Like, are you dumb?
Even if
you see, he started laughing. Oh, I got away scot-free, like, yeah. See, once he found out that they actually got everything wrong, it was basically a green light for him to kill her, like, right away. He probably at this moment knew he can kill her, and cops would think like, oh yeah, she was an aggressor, she pushed him like, so he was defending himself, and I bet he planned to kill her right after.
Even if you didn't want to pursue
Look at
this,
him.
we don't have a choice.
What a
The best thing we
disgusting
can do
scum.
to not, the law says we have to charge her. It doesn't say we have to put her in jail, okay? But it also says we have to separate, do a no contact order, and we have
He is so happy. Oh
to
my
put her in jail if we
god.
cannot separate. And there's a little problem here. Is you guys are out of Florida living in the van together. How are we supposed to separate you guys? Now, I don't want to take this small.
I can tell at this moment he knew he could keep unbeaten her up again and again. This cop, man. If that one cop wasn't working that day, everything would be turned differently.
All 20, what is she?
Yes, a 22-year-old.
22-year-old female in jail?
Look, smiling and stuff like sicko.
That you could definitely defend yourself against, but at the same time, we can't say because you're a male and she's a female, we can't treat this different than if you were the male hitting her. We gotta treat it the same.
And he's like, is he for real? Oh, if a man hits a female, that would be the same. Like, what? You know that a man could knock a female out dead with one punch? A woman couldn't do that. Oh man. He was basically mansplaining him like, oh, you're the victim. Like, we all men, we're so beat up by women. Like, oh man, we're so beat up. Are you kidding me? Know that men are like 100 times stronger than women.
Yeah, no.
So she's kind of in a tough.
He's like, oh, I know. And he was like looking at the left side and he was probably thinking, oh man, I could get away with this. Oh man, I could beat her up and they wouldn't do anything like that.
Unless you have an idea about how she cannot go to jail.
Oh man, at this point, I bet he already had a plan to kill her and abuse her. Like, who knows what, maybe he tortured her before she died. Like, who knows? We don't have an autopsy yet. There was a comment that said like she had a skull fracture, which of course is possible. There were many rocks. He probably bashed her head with a rock or something. Like, sicko. I cannot believe this. Look at this. Like, that cop sided with an abuser. Not the first time, of course, but
Separated. You have friends in town. Somewhere she can
disgusting.
stay. Tomorrow, if you want to, it's up to you. You can
Can I go to jail?
You can't because we don't have.
Can I go to jail? Like, really? Look at his demeanor. Like, started laughing and stuff. Like, you could tell there's something wrong with him. Like, look at his like behavior. Sick. She's crying and he's laughing. Like, he wasn't laughing when they accused him because he knew he was guilty. And when they took it all the wrong way, he started laughing and just like, oh man, you side with me. Like, oh man, I will be your best friend.
I have a charge for you. Now tomorrow, if you wanted to be with her again tomorrow.
And he's like, oh yeah, I'm so excited. Like,
Yeah, take your radio.
He's really a little bit off. Look at him. I will take your radio. Like, why? He's definitely autistic. Like, he has no social skills. It's like, and he's like looking at him like that. Like, what are you talking about?
If you want to be with
Why is he laughing? Like, I will take your radio. What is that about?
her again tomorrow, because it's after 5, so our office is closed. You can go to the police department, fill out a waiver to drop the no contact order, so you guys can still be together. But she's
Like, if he was a victim, he wouldn't be laughing right now. Like, oh my god. What do you think? Of course, you see, like, one person is crying, has marks, another has marks and is laughing. Like, what kind of victim would laugh uncontrollably? It wasn't him like, oh yeah, you know, I got beat up. Even she wasn't really laughing. She was like, come on, like, does he look like a victim? Come on. He was driving a car. He was dominating her all the way. If he was a better man, like, he took all the control. It was her van, he took the van, he took her phone, he took everything. He tried to probably kill her somewhere in the mountains.
She's gonna have a court date online in a week or two. She's gonna have to show up for her court date online and answer. The prosecutor might drop it. She might say, for example, if you're not willing to pursue it, if that's your decision.
I was gonna say, it definitely is. I'm not gonna pursue anything. She's my fiance. I love her. It's just a little squabble. I'm sorry that I had to get so public.
Little squabble? Really? Of course he doesn't want to lose her, because his plan is to kill her after. What a sicko, like, where does people come from? Like,
So I just want to get like the checklist of things I gotta do to get rid of it. So
If you want her back, well, she'll get a paper with a court date.
How do I get rid of it?
Well, the court date has to be attended in order for them to decide whether they need to continue or drop it.
did he say, like, should I get rid of her? Let me rewind that. Wait. This is faster. Let's look at the normal speed. He's really sick.
How do I get rid of it?
Well, the court date has to be attended in order for them to decide whether they need to
Or he said how to get rid of it.
continue or drop it. The first is just an initial appearance to say, are you who we think you are? Yes. Do you understand the charge that's been brought against you? Yes or no? Yes or no? The answer. Do you have an attorney? Yes or no? Do you need one? And then from there, she can ask to speak with the prosecutor. The prosecutor might be contacting you and say, hey man, like, I know she's 110 pounds soaking wet and you're a big strong guy, and we understand you're not even wanting to pursue this, but the cops have to follow the statute. How, like, what in the interest of you, of justice for you as a victim, what do you think? And they can decide to still prosecute her, or they can decide to drop it, or they can decide to give her a plea and make it kind of go away if she behaves from now on. But that still has.
She behaves. Really? I don't get how he's a victim. Everyone said that he tried to get her out of the car, and she tried to get back into her own car. Like, how is he the victim? Like, oh man, that he loves men too much. Like, oh man, like, so sexist.
That does not eliminate the first court appearance
Disgusting.
that she has to attend, which thankfully for you guys is going to be.
I don't know, his like brain works like backwards. How is he the victim? What? Laughing and joking, and she's like hysterical, crying with bruises all over. What?
Be online, so you don't have. So if you're out of town, so here's the thing: if you're out of town and she doesn't come into our court appearance online, they can suspend her driver's license. They can issue a warrant for her. So she needs to play ball and go.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And remember, we're a team. Me and her are a team. I'm sorry about all this. I apologize again. But so she's got her online court date just to acknowledge that she's hurt, and then she's got the one for the.
Well, there's automatically right now there is something called a no contact order in place.
Yeah.
From this point forward until tomorrow, if you wish to drop it, you have to go into the 217 East Center Street, Moab City Police Department, and you have to ask. We'll give it to you. You want to fill out a waiver that you're requesting a waiving of the contact order, the no contact order. The no contact order means she cannot come into contact with you, she cannot talk to you, she cannot text you, she cannot go onto any premises that you're occupying, she cannot go to your vehicle. And until you drop that, or until court date, if you...
So yeah, he thought that the vehicle was his. Come on, like, he didn't even ask her if it was her car. He assumed it was his car because he was driving. Come on, if she was like a dominating female, she would be driving like, she would lock him out of the car, not the other way around. Like, all the signs said he was like dominating, aggressive, sicko. Like, how he got the different picture, like, I couldn't even understand. Like, he should definitely have like 6 months of psychology courses or something, because he's like, wow, all into himself, and he isn't even listening.
If you don't drop it, it stays in effect until midnight on the day of court. And then that gives you time to get a protective order, a long-term one if you feel like you need one. But it sounds like you don't even want this one.
She needs
So
to protect her
tomorrow, they open at
order.
8, you can go in the police department, you can fill out the waiver, they can remove it, then you can say, hey babe, where you at? Let me pick you up. And you can pick her up. Now, we're hoping not to put her in jail, but if she doesn't have somewhere to go tonight to be separate from you, then where are we supposed
I
to
can't
do?
talk to her now because it's
Because
separation,
there's
right?
no contact order tonight.
So tell me this: do you guys have enough money for like a hotel room or anything like that? Because what we could do is we'd cite her for this, and then I'd give her a ride over to whatever hotel you guys is choosing.
You can pick her up there tomorrow if you
And
want to
you-
drop the no contact.
On your way to go pick her up, you stop over there at the PD, sign the paperwork that they're requesting, and then you can go pick her up quite literally within minutes.
Unless you know someone else in town that's a friend that she can stay with.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, unfortunately not. I don't, and I guess that,
Man, I sure hate to... I don't want her to go to jail.
will it be, if she goes to jail, it's like, that goes down somewhere instead of her going to a hotel, right? If you did a citation, it would be...
It kind of depends. So if she goes to jail...
Oh man, really? That cop is just like spitting boogies right on the cement, like on camera. Like, he doesn't have a tissue or something. Oh man, it's just nauseating.
They're going to book her. And they'll take her fingerprints and
Yeah.
it's going to go on her criminal
Ew,
history.
and he even, oh man, that cop is nasty.
And then if they don't convict her, then it will just show that it was dismissed on it. It'll show up on a criminal...
He's picking her nose right on camera. Oh my god, I didn't expect that. They should have cut this out. So disgusting.
history, but the charge was dismissed. If she
Ew.
is found guilty, it'll show up as she was guilty of domestic assault. But the charge
She assaulted him, like, where, how, like, what?
itself will show up on her criminal history until she gets it expunged. Now, even if we give her a ticket, we're still going to take a fingerprint and it's still going to show up.
Sick.
Either way, it's still going to show up. There's no way around a Class A. Or is this Class B?
This is Class B.
But they do require a fingerprint on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
The other part.
If you don't want to ever end up in a situation like this, look at his man, look at his mannerisms, look how he's acting, how, like, she is crying, he is laughing. Look at men like this. That's his empathy level, because he's a psychopath, not a sociopath, but psychopath. He has no feelings, zero. Avoid men like this, like, really sicko, making sick jokes, like
It is if you contact her or she contacts you, she can be charged with a Class A,
well,
which is a little bit different, but it doesn't help the city.
if you were to contact her and she responds to you, then she could get a new charge for violating the no contact order. The no contact order doesn't restrict you, it restricts her. So if you go talk to her and we find out you're not in trouble, she'll be in trouble. So it's in your interest to... Does that all make sense?
No, I'm getting it all.
It's
Okay.
a lot, really quick.
No, I'm getting it all. I'm just trying to figure out a way through it. Shoot.
You don't know anyone in town? You guys been here how long?
No, I don't know anyone in town. If she went...
She could... I don't think Sea Cave will take her where she's the aggressor.
No.
It is a women's shelter.
I'm curious.
You could find out and say, hey, she doesn't have where to go.
If you did the citation, she, like, say she drove off she could drive off in this car.
We could give you a ride somewhere.
I got my backpack.
Sucks for you,
I
but
got my backpack.
you can spend a night...
You want to drive me to Delicate Art?
Does she have a good...
smiling and laughing, like, who does that? He was like scratched with keys. It's like he doesn't even feel pain or something. Her bruise was definitely bigger than his. You could tell he was holding her hand for like a long time and was like dragging her like half of her forearm was like dark red. Like, come on, like these cops know nothing.
Good driver's license, and
Yeah, she does drive license.
you trust her with your vehicle, and
Yeah, she can handle it.
With your vehicle. Let's hear this again.
Yeah, she does drive license.
you trust her with your vehicle.
Your vehicle. Oh man. He twisted all the story. Your vehicle. Why men always assume like women are in this situation? Gabby was a unquote breadwinner. He was a bum, he had no money, nothing. She was giving him her money. Somehow he got her PIN code. Maybe he was beating her up and got her PIN code and then killed her. Who knows? It was her van, her money, her everything. She was working on it. And he trashed this van. Tried to... He's really psycho. Like, how much more of a psycho can you get if, like, he's so controlling? Took her own car, tried to take her possessions, everything, and she's an aggressor. And like, it's his car now. Like, what?
Yeah, she can handle it.
Well, then you'd kind of be home.
And he didn't even say that it wasn't his car. Of course. Stick by this cop's story. Cannot believe it. The sad truth is that many men think that women are dumb and only men are like, in the United States this is how it is, you know, American way.
Almost for the night around
And
town.
I can't talk to her at all.
Well,
And I've got to do.
I cannot talk to her at all. I cannot abuse her. That's inconvenient.
The thing, so I can't go camping.
we can tell her what it is that she needs to do to get through all.
Why is he so happy about? Like, why is he so happy? I don't get. Really?
This, and then let her know what your plan is.
Here's the problem though. If we take you up to Delicate Arch, you're going to be hoofing it from Delicate Arch all the way down to Moab Center Street so that you can fill out that paperwork, because if you're not there by noon tomorrow,
They're
you're going
closed
to be
at
looking at
noon
Monday
tomorrow
morning.
because it's early out Fridays over at the office, so
Yeah.
you won't be there after.
You'd be looking at Monday morning before you could actually see her again.
And again, we're not trying to make your life hard, but this is written in statute. There's nothing
know, a
we
lot of
can do about it.
bureaucracy.
It's designed to protect victims of domestic assault. Not everybody's the same. This is different than normal, but we have to treat everything the same. And that's just how it is.
So do you think they can't afford a hotel?
No?
Very, very little money we have for sure.
Hotels are expensive.
Very little money. We have. No. We have little money. Ugh. I think he is ashamed right now. He looks ashamed. He said, we have little money. No. Actually, yeah, he said that because he had zero money. He would need to get her credit card, and she would need to pay. And he was probably, imagine, I wonder how it could have been if the cop said like, you have to pay for it, and he goes to Gabby and says like, "Oh, I need money." He was definitely ashamed because he had zero money. All the money was hers.
Here now.
You want me to? I'll call CK then.
We have little money. No, you have zero money. You bum.
CK will take her for the night.
Disgusting.
I'll see if they'll take either one of them. 'Cause then we can figure it out.
This is a women's shelter.
Women's
Yeah,
shelter.
actually, CK will take him as a victim of that's himself. CK will.
I am a victim. Oh, it's so funny, of course, because you're not.
Take you, and they will help you tomorrow.
And you're like a block and a half away from the
He's a better man. Like, oh, I can't. You couldn't make this shit up. Like, wow.
Let's see if CK will take him because they actually put up. Actually, they didn't take a guy, but they got a hotel for a guy last time.
Yeah, I'll do that.
CK might get you a hotel. Now, what she does.
I'm happy sleeping outside in a sleeping bag.
No,
So, like, I don't need a hotel.
I think
I'm just saying.
I think CK will get you a hotel. If you want her to have the van, we don't care. It's up to you. But there's nothing we can do about the rest.
I don't want to open my car. I'm just trying to think. I gotta grab my. I gotta make like a little bag.
You sweating to death yet?
I think we're good.
You good? I'm gonna talk to you real quick, but I've been talking so much. I gotta get some water. I'll be right back. Let me grab water.
I've been talking so much.
Now this is the water.
Oh
It's
man.
cold water.
That's how we get visitors.
Oh yeah? Okay, Gabby, when you grow up and you're a full-grown man, this is what you'll drink from. Plus it's ice cold, and so I'm gonna drink from it. Sorry.
Yeah, mansplaining.
You'll probably never be a full-grown man.
And then you do curls.
Then you can do your curls. So, look, I'm going to speak to you frankly. I have a daughter almost your age, and I'm looking at you not so much like a suspect, but also kind of a victim
Like,
in the sense that you're dealing with some struggles emotionally and mentally at your age. Probably the worst.
like, how he's a psychologist now? You're dealing with mental problems. Like, where this came from? Like, what? He's gaslighting her as well as this Brian guy. Like, she shouldn't have gotten this type of attitude. An abused girl, woman. Brian was abusing her for probably years. It was, of course, escalating. Now he is mansplaining her.
Themselves out as you get older. There's a lot of angst at your age, and I remember being your age too. And hopefully it works itself out. But
Works itself out. Really? She's dead now. Like, oh man, that cop. He has to get fired. Really? I wonder what is his name. I will definitely look into this.
the stuff you did today that contributed to this, because you both contributed to this,
You contributed to this. Then he corrected himself both. Disgusting.
as a result of your inability to cope with the anxiety and the stress that you're having. So
Inability to cope with anxiety. He threw her out of her car in the middle of nowhere in some desert. Like, really?
in a way, you're kind of a victim of this. I think you would have done better if you had the skills to do better. But you don't learn skills until you...
Skills. Let's talk about skills now, Sicko cop. She's dead, like, what's your excuse? Man, he needs to go to jail. This is like a...
learn skills, and you don't have enough life experience yet to know how to navigate
Wow.
everything. Like, I don't either, but I can navigate what happened. If I was in your shoes, I could handle it different because I'm 39 years old. I've been through it. But I've got a lot of life lessons to learn still because I'm like my dad and my grandpas, they know stuff I don't know, right? They can do stuff I don't know. So in a way, I'm just letting you know that we sympathize with you. But based on what you've said and based on what our witness has said, and even based on what your fiance has mentioned, trying his very hardest not to have you in any trouble, he does have marks on him that witnesses say were caused by you slapping him. And that even you say you slapped him and were aggressing him first. And I don't have any...
Like, she didn't say she aggressed him first. Like, where you got this information? She said he locked her out of her car. He wasn't listening at all. Like, this story was repeated like 8 times, and he keeps changing it, like, because he wants her to be an aggressor. Oh, because of my ex.
One saying that he actually punched you aggressively, it sounds like it was shoving in a manner that was probably more consistent with trying to prevent you from entering the van or to get space from you, not to assail you. Does that make sense?
Like, why you assume that? Push you out of the van. Yeah, that was what started happening. He started doing this first. And she tried to defend herself, like, what did you not get?
So, if the tables were turned and he was beating on you and you were shoving him, of course we're going to look at it like, oh, of course she's defending herself to get away from this guy.
Yeah, that was the case. Like, how did you get another picture?
So we're kind of looking at it the same way with him, and we have to treat both.
Look at her arm, come on. Look at her tan, and even with this tan you could see how red her arm is. I bet her bruise was like black after this.
Even if he's a bigger male and you're a smaller female, the law doesn't say, hey, Officer Pratt and Officer Robbins, you can treat people different based on gender under the same, so we can't. Even if it makes no sense that you probably could not physically destroy this man the way that he could if he attacked you. We can't treat you different, okay? So all that long-windedness I'm giving you right now is leading up to the fact that if I pull someone over for speeding, I have the right to give them a warning. I have something called officer discretion. But in the legislature in Utah, they have made a law that if we have a domestic assault, they don't trust the police to make good decisions because too many cops have made bad decisions. So they say, we're not going to give you discretion. We're going to write a law that says if you have a domestic assault, whether it's male on female or female on male, whoever the primary aggressor is has to be charged. No choice. You don't get to give them a warning. It doesn't matter if it's barely hurt at all and the guy doesn't want to press charges or the girl doesn't want to press charges. We don't have a choice. We literally have no choice. He does not want to press charges. He says you guys are a team. He says you're his fiance. He says he loves you. He says he doesn't want anything to happen. But we're explaining to him that we don't have any choice in this. So we're trying to get a local victims advocacy group called Seek Haven to get him a hotel for the night so that you can have the van, because they won't give you the hotel because you're the one who was the primary aggressor.
She was a primary aggressor. Well, I don't know, like, look at her. Look. She's just listening to this. She was beat up by this disgusting schmuck, you know, and he is mansplaining her like, you attack him, he's the victim. Look at her bruise, how big it is. Like, she has a scratch on her face here. Is this a bruise too? You see this like red thing in here?
So they're going to consider him the victim, so they're going to get him a hotel. So he wants you so that you don't have to go to jail, because the only thing we can do is take you to jail. He says, well, so she doesn't have to go to jail, then I will accept Seek Haven's help if they'll give me a hotel, and then she can have the van, so she doesn't have to go to jail, she can just have a ticket. When you get the ticket, it's going to give you a phone number to call, and they're going to give you a court date, and that court date will probably be online.
So I have to come back to Utah?
No, it'll be online. You have a smartphone?
Yeah.
So you can,
Sorry.
you're okay.
Sorry, I've never heard of this. I didn't know
Yeah,
this was in
when
Utah.
COVID happened, they switched all the court from in person to online. So when I go to court now,
I have tickets waiting in the car or something, please, because we're okay. Like, what does it
I understand, but we don't have any, like, listen, if I had any discretion in this, I would separate you guys for the day and just give you warnings to stop hitting each other. But I lawfully don't have discretion here. I don't have any.
Can you imagine, like, you justify your abuser, take the blame, but she actually didn't take the blame. She didn't say, I hit him first. Like, yeah, she did, because she tried to defend herself, but it wasn't like she started hitting him without any reason, you know. And I bet these key marks were done on the car. He was probably like doing something. Man, this is so sick. She didn't expect this to happen, like.
Because there's two witnesses. And then there's what you said when he said, and guess what? It all matches nicely that you were the primary aggressor and that the injuries he has were caused by your aggression. towards him. Even if he doesn't feel hurt, even if he doesn't want to press charges, there's nothing any cop can do about it. It's written into the law.
I don't.
Normally we take people to jail, but he's trying to work it so you can just have a van. Tomorrow,
I don't want to be separated.
you can have anxiety.
Yeah, no creatine, please.
There's no what is it?
No, my creatine, please. He's gonna give me so much anxiety. Give me something like a driving
Okay,
ticket.
the very best thing I can do is call my supervisor and see if I'm missing something here.
I'll pay any driving ticket, a parking ticket, anything.
Okay, Gabby,
If that'd be
Gabby,
better.
try to calm down, and I'm gonna go call a supervisor. But I don't think that there's much I.
Can you imagine being beat up by your boyfriend and then police tries to lock you up? Wow. So sick.
Can do, but let me see if the supervisor can tell me something I'm missing to make this not
I can't be a
happen.
boyfriend and I can't.
I
Give me a minute,
can't.
okay? You don't have to sit out in the house unless you want.
So sick. Man. I wonder if this cop will learn from this or not. Probably not. He, like, you know, men like this, they would never take the blame. He's like, oh, I know better. Like, disgusting.
Hey, so a tiny little girl, 22 years old, slapped her boyfriend, her fiance, several times. He's got a little bit of a little tiny abrasion on his,
Slapped.
like,
He
on his
pushed
chin,
her
on his jaw.
first. Come on. Like,
They got into a van and drove off. He got called in by two different, well, there's one caller and then a witness. Got them stopped.
like, this story doesn't even match up. I remember the first call was like, I don't know if it was first, second, but he said like, a man started hitting her, kept hitting her, then they drove off. So I guess he hit her a few times, then he came into the car. She tried to get back. Yeah. Oh man, I don't know. Oh, it's very late here. It's time for me to sleep, but this is like how this cop made everything up is like I don't know.
The story from the witnesses matches the story from the female, matches the story to the male.
Well, it doesn't match anything, okay?
She was pissed off. She's having a rough day. He tries to.
Like, how he made everything up. She was pissed off. She tried to hit him, like, just what? She was pissed off. This is not what the witness said. Now he changed the story for like the sixth time. Every time he tells the story, it's different. Every time. Cops like this, like, oh man.
Separate from her. She's not staying away from him. She has severe anxiety problems. He locks her out of the van, says you need to go for a walk and cool off. She's forcing her way into the van. She's clawing her way past him into the van to be.
No, he didn't try to make her cool off. He tried to take her phone. I bet she wanted to call her parents. I bet. Or the police or someone. And yeah.
With him. He's shoving her to get her out of the van, but he's not assaulting her or he's not assailing her. He's trying to keep her out. She's punching, slapping, everything.
Yeah, he wants to keep her out. Yeah, like, who throws a woman out of the car in the middle of nowhere? Like, what is normal about it? Like, are you dumb? Like, that's not a rational thing to do. I love her. Like, really?
She's got to be 105 pounds soaking wet, 22, full of anxiety, having a really tough time. Not making excuses, but I mean, it is written in the code. We do have a domestic assault here. He's not wanting to pursue it. He's very adamant. He does not want to pursue it. We're explaining we don't have any discretion on these things. We're giving him a no contact. We're letting CK see if they can get him a hotel so she can have the van so that we don't have to put her in jail. She's really struggling with the idea of being alone and not with him and not having the van. They want to be together. I told her, look, there's not anything I can do. This is all written into freaking statute.
You see, she couldn't even be without him, even though he's killing her. He's beating her, he's like telling she cannot do the blog, and you see, she still wants to be with her abuser. He conditioned her so much that she's worthless without him, he knows better, and she's like, okay, like a Stockholm syndrome or something. No, it's even worse.
I just said the last thing I can do is call a supervisor and see if where this is such a minor, there's like a slap fight and the injury is from a fingernail. I just don't know if it's worth the whole domestic thing or not, or if it's going to get us in trouble if we don't do it this way. Well,
only a slap with her fingernail, like, really? She's bruised too. It's not a defensive move to grab something by the neck, the throat, or something. Like pushing your nails into someone's face. Come on.
well, they don't want to, but I told them that unless I get some kind of permission some other way, I'm pretty sure this is a statute and that we have to separate you.
I couldn't hear what he's saying. Okay.
Anyway, because it really is, the spirit of the law is being lost on this one. It really is. So, or any impairment of physical condition. Bodily injury means physical pain, illness, or any impairment of physical condition. So let's see. He's not ill. He doesn't have an impairment of physical condition. And if he's not in pain, like how far do you want to go with this? Like, you know why the domestic assault code is there? It's there to protect people, especially the reason why they don't give us discretion on these things is because too many times women who are at risk want to go back to their abuser. They just wanted him to stop, and they don't want to have to be separated. They don't want him charged. They don't want him to go to jail, and then they end up getting worse and worse treatment, and then they end up getting killed.
Yeah, that's what happened. Like, because you were mansplaining. Like, so he knows what happens. He just described the situation Gabby was in, and he didn't see it. Like, he just described her behavior. Like, so he knew about it. Like, what? I don't know what he was drinking that day, but like, it wasn't water. Come on, like.
In no way, shape, or form that I can perceive what happened here, a little slap fight between fiancés.
How it was a slap fight? He grabbed her face. Her face is burning. His bruises are probably not so serious because he didn't say he was hurt or anything. He was like, oh, that's nothing. And she was all crying and stuff, you know, like that's obvious. How can you not see it?
Who love each other want to be together.
Oh,
Can I
man.
perceive that this is going to digress into a situation where he's going to be
No, Brian wasn't loving her. Like, come on. He was all about control and
a battered man? Right. But then again, I don't have.
Better man? Like, really? What a better man tries to take a woman's phone away? Tries to grab her face, like, doesn't even fit the profile.
I'm crystal ball. So I was looking at I talked to the assistant chief to see if there's any way to just go less than than the full force domestic assault route. Right. And he says, look, I mean, you either go all the way or you don't. And it's like, hey, but under what circumstances can I not? And really the only time I cannot is if it doesn't fit. If it fits, then it's in the law, then you have to do it. So I went and I looked at the code for assault, because this is an assault enhanced with domestic assault. Utah Code assault. Now, you and I both know what it is, but think of how valuable it is to look it up and read it word for word, especially when what you're doing is going to get evaluated by a court who cares a lot about words. Words are there for a reason. Assault is an attempt with unlawful force or violence to do bodily injury to another. So did she attempt to do bodily injury to him?
She went to smack him.
Was it her intention to do him bodily injury? Now, that's what we have to find out, because it says bodily injury is that by definition, physical pain, illness, or any impairment of physical condition.
Well, he's got a swollen right eye.
We don't care what the result was, we care about the intent.
So we gotta go find intent.
If she did not intend to cause him pain or illness or to cause him impairment of physical condition.
Was it intent and attempt, or intent or attempt?
When you're attempting to do something, you have to intend to do it. If I attempt to get a basketball through a hoop, I have to intend to do it. Intent is implicit with attempt.
Right.
Okay, so what was her intent? What was her intention? If you go ask her.
Yeah, her intention was to fight him off. He was probably strangling her. He was probably choking her in the car, you know. Like, it was a self-defense. Like, if a woman has to use her keys to fight the man off, that means, like, she's in a deadly situation, you know. Like, what kind of woman would just strike a man with keys without any reason and then cry after for hours? Like, oh man.
What was your intention when you were slapping him? And she says, I wanted him to hurt or be ill or impair his physical condition. Then there's nothing we can do. Okay. One way to word it might be, hey, when you slapped him, were you intending to cause him physical pain? And let's get rid of illness because it has nothing to do with it. Physical pain or impairment of his physical condition. Is that your intention? Is that what you were attempting to do? That's what it says right here, an attempt.
Right.
Were you attempting to cause him pain or an impairment of physical condition? Whatever she answers to that question will seal her fate. Because the only way you know what she was attempting to do is by asking her.
Right.
Oh, a smart guy, like.
Set it up right. Set it up just right. Gabby, this is a very, very important question. How you answer this question is going to determine what happens next. But the only person who can answer this question is you. Think very hard before you answer the question. Do not quickly answer it. Think very hard. When you slapped him those times, were you attempting to cause him physical pain or physical impairment? Was that what you were attempting to do to him?
No.
What were you attempting to do? What was the reason behind the slapping and stuff? What was it you were attempting to accomplish by slapping?
I was trying to get him to stop telling me to calm down.
Well, it doesn't sound to me like she attempted to injure him. It's your call. It's 100% your call. That's the Portuguese way.
Can't say that. She openly admitted to me earlier that she was striking him in the arm. He said that she was striking him in the arm. He said she was, and that's what caused him to hit the curb. She said that she grabbed her. I might have this too mixed up, probably.
No, she said that too, that she started distracting him by hitting him, and that he probably looked at her, and that's why the mark is on the window side. And she said it was her fault that he swerved because she was distracting him by hitting him. But she said she didn't try to hurt him, it wasn't malicious, she thought that he wasn't listening to her.
So assault is an attempt with unlawful force or violence to do bodily injury to another. The code for bodily injury, the definition says, bodily injury is infliction of pain or physical impairment or illness. So you can go this now. I'm recording, and society and the judges and everyone can judge me for this. I am looking at a 110-pound female and her fiance who have no means to be separated. He doesn't want to pursue it. She's not a threat to him, more than slight abrasions from her fingernails. I don't care if we use the actual letter of the law to not charge, but I also don't care because it literally does possibly make perfect sense to go full-on domestic assault and do the whole thing. This is your opportunity to make the decision.
Let's do this.
I support you either way.
Let's do this. Taking your advice, let me do a crime report on this. Won't charge right now. Won't cite her for it right now. We'll send it off to the county attorney. City attorney, because it is a female. Send it off to the city attorney. Let them screen it and make a decision.
If you send it to the city attorney and they strongly disagree with your decision and they throw a complete fit, you might hear about it in a very negative way.
Right.
So I would make a decision yourself.
I'd rather be dinged for a decision I made than a decision I didn't make.
Especially if they think you're completely negligent in your decision. Why give it to them? The only reason to give it to them is if you're not sure if you have enough for something and you want them to decide if they have enough. So I support you. I'm not joking. If we need to go all the way to jail or whatever we need to do, all the way down to...
Your ears out.
Go ahead.
Aside them. I'm gonna go.
You got this?
I'm making this decision. I'm gonna cite them. I'm gonna go follow through the process.
Would you feel more comfortable handling that guy?
Yeah.
Go handle that guy then.
Go handle that guy?
Go handle that guy.
Okay.
If you're more comfortable.
Well, it's 6 one way, half dozen the other.
It's up to you.
I mean, it's a headache whether I go left or it's a headache whether I go
Look,
right.
another option is to not charge them but separate them for the night. If they find themselves together again, what is it to you? You separated them. You provided for his safety. If he doesn't have enough sense to stay away and you got him separated, it's on him.
You can't babysit them all night unless they're in jail, so it's up to them what happens after the
You can separate them and say, don't let this cool off till tomorrow. If they don't let it cool off and we hear about it, we'll hear about it.
They're camping in the park tonight, we'll let you know.
And if there's some fighting going on, you already was Mr. Nice Guy. You already gave him a chance. What you can't do by law is separate someone and say, if we hear from you again, we're going to arrest one of you. Because then if one of them really needs help, they may not call police and get help. The law says you cannot, literally, you may not say, if we get more problems with you guys tonight, one of you is going to jail. You can't threaten them like that if it's true, because it will stop someone from wanting to call the police to get help. Does that make sense?
Right.
So go full or nothing or in between and separate them and kind of give them the nod, the wink, like, hey, just stay separated. It's up to you. I'm going to go handle that. You got very capable help with you here. And if you have any problems, talk to him now.
Is he driving home or whatever? Man, he took everything wrong, like made his own story, like he was an aggressor, like and he's like very proud of himself, like, oh, there are comments. Raise awareness to domestic battery. Cops will all admit that domestic issues are the most difficult. Like, once Brian started like mumbling and tried to, she got really worked up, like, ugh. I don't want to defend myself, but. This is what the patriarchal system looks like. This is why women die. So sad, and that she wasn't protected. These officers, male officers, need to start getting educated on these types of issues. It's so important that they start to learn about how abusers and victims work. Rip Gabby. Oh man, some butt hurt. Yeah, this comment is so right. Let's go for a walk and cool down. Translation: you go for a walk in the desert while I drive off with your van and all your belongings. Then tell the police she's crazy man because she clawed her way back into her own vehicle. He had no right to steal. Exactly. He's so mental. Do you think he tried to leave her there? Not really. I think he tried to scare her off so she would feel even more dependent on him. No. He would be like, oh, if you don't behave, I will lead you in the desert. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think he tried to scare her off so she would even cling to him even more. I bet he used this tactic before. Because, he tried to control her. What was the point of him to get rid of her? Nah. I'm really questioning, why he decided to kill her. Maybe she wanted to run away from him and leave him. He left her in this, not woods, but in a wilderness, alone, dead. This is so sick. This is so creepy, I can't. When I think about it, it's so creepy, this van and him. The psychopaths know how to copy emotions, copy. Only thing he couldn't copy was crying. O'Brien's laundry search inside motel where Gabby Petito's fiancé stayed after the traffic stop. Really?
There's one simple sex mistake you must never make when being intimate with a man if you want him to see you as...
All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to another live stream by Joseph Morris about the Gabby Petito case. And if you want to stay up to date on this developing story, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below and ring the bell for notifications. Now, I have to be completely honest with everybody here.
Really?
I wasn't able to actually watch the body cam in full, probably because of my own personal reasons. I'm just not one to really watch those things. I find them very hard to watch. I've only ever seen clips, so forgive me if this is actually in the body cam footage, but I found out that there's we can actually see inside the motel that Brian Laundrie was staying at. So Gabby Petito's fiance, Brian Laundrie, stayed at a $78 a night motel after police stopped them following a call about domestic violence. So staff at it's called the Bowen Motel in Moab, Utah, confirmed that the 23-year-old had stayed at the accommodation after police took him there on August 12th. So if you remember correctly the case here, a 911 call came in, a report about a domestic dispute at a grocery store called the it was a co-op, and one of the workers there actually ended up. They have been cooperating. I'd be really interested to know if they have any more sort of surveillance footage, because I find just watching this stuff back and knowing what we know now. So when I heard about this news story, I found it very interesting. So let's just play the clip of him going into the motel.
We're coming here, we're gonna come to the place.
That is an amazing place. Look how sunny it is. These mountains, beautiful. Beautiful. Such a stunning person.
Tyson? Yep. Officer Robbins, Bill called for me.
He did, yes.
This is Brian Laundrie.
All right.
So he's gonna get you all set up with your hotel room, and he's gonna take care of it from here.
All right. Well,
All right.
thank you so
And like I
much.
said, just remember my requests. I think it'll make a big difference in your guys' next couple of weeks at the very least.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for everything.
No problem. It's nice meeting you, Brian.
Nice to meet you.
Have a good one.
Imagine shaking hands with a killer. Nice to meet you, Brian. Look, he's a victim. Look how happy he is. Wow, I just won a jackpot. I was abusing her and I just got a free hotel stay for 78 euros, dollars, whatever. So this is his backpack. This one, like a gray one, okay.
Yeah, so the audio there, it is that low quality audio. It does chop out here and there. I'm not too sure if they're trying to censor the audio or not, but there is audio that is missing in that clip. And, you know, I found his behavior in that clip very suspicious. He was very buddy-buddy with the hotel staff, with the police officer. At one point, he even shakes the hand of the police officer, once again, proclaiming his innocence, trying to manipulate the situation. You know what?
I don't think he even needed to manipulate. You know why? Cops did it by themselves. Oh, Brian, you're the victim. And he was like, really? Like, oh, can I take your radio now? Like, ha ha ha. You know, like, that cop was like out of this planet. Like, he was like from somewhere else. I don't know. But like, he's the victim. Like, how? He didn't act like a victim. Like, look how happy he is. They didn't, I think they didn't even know that the van was Gabby's, not his. Maybe later she told it to this other officer. I don't know, but at first he was like, oh, it's your van. Look at him. Like, does he look like he has any money with him? I bet he had zero money. He had no money at all. We have little money. No, Gabby had lots of money. He just didn't want to tell that he has zero money and he's using her money. He was using her. Disgusting.
I'm just gonna play it one more time. And
This is Brian Laundry. All right. So he's going to get you outside of the hotel room. And he's going to take care
Why is he jumping so much? Oh.
as you can see from that clip, that, you know, he was very buddy-buddy with the cops in that situation. He again tried to paint himself out to be the victim in that motel clip. So as we know, there was a domestic dispute and a 911 caller reported it, and that's why the cops were on, you know, the scene between Gabby Petito. Again, Gabby Petito was visibly distraught, and in this situation, he was made out to be the victim. He was the one put in the hotel. He was the one in that situation that was all smiley and happy. So
Yeah,
this is where I kind of get really tripped up here.
Like, yeah, once I saw him laughing like that, I was like, wait. Right away, I got this like a psychopath, the killer, narcissist vibe. She is crying. He didn't even ask like, oh, how is Gabby? Isn't she hurt or something? Like, he was laughing like, oh, can I go to jail? Hey. Sicko. Like, does he look like a victim? Like, he was like so amused, like, come on. It wasn't like, you know, you can be a victim, like, I never saw a domestic abuse victim like this, like, laughing all the way, like, excited, like, oh man, my fiancé is so worked up, like, oh man, I'm so excited, I'm going to this $78 a night hotel for free because, like, I'm the victim, ha ha ha. Look at his behavior. Like, you're supposed to be a cop, and what? I bet they never saw domesticated. You know how a small county it is? Oh man.
So I'll just play the next clip I have.
I wonder what is the next clip.
What'd you get him? Slap him first? It's on his face? How many times did you slap?
Bravo Romeo India outside November.
And then what? His reaction was to do what?
It's gonna be out of.
He just grabbed you? Did he hit you though? I mean, it's okay if you're saying he hit you. I understand if he hit you, but we want to know the truth. Did he actually hit you? Because you know. No, be honest. Did he slap your face or what? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. So has he been drinking? What was up with his driving? This officer said he hit a curve.
Oh, that's
So in that clip, I really just wanted to point out that in that scenario, the cops were asking very leading questions. I know you can't really hear it. That's literally the quality of the body cam footage. So I tried to boost it up. But basically what the cop is saying, oh, did you hit him? Did you slap him? You know, using very leading questions in that situation. Again, I think the police are being investigated for their handling of that scenario. But basically,
that cop
yeah,
was
they were
so bad. Like, it's, oh man. Even though he got this even though he got this like call that he was slapping her, he's like, oh, you slapped him. Like, he turned tables and like, what?
trying to paint her out to be the problem in that scenario, when in actuality the 911 call said that she was the one that was hit. So, you know, that entire
Exactly.
scenario was very stressful for all of them. Terrible things happened for them. And this is where I'm kind of, you know, this is where it kind of gets interesting. So that fight happened on August 12th, right? He was separated in the motel. Now, if we do some research here, the motel is about a 13-minute drive away from, you know, where the newlywed murders happened. So I just want to point out that in Moab, Utah, there has been 0 murders since 2006. Brian Laundrie shows up, and all of a sudden, there are 3 murders. So I find that very
Exactly, yeah.
suspect. So when I'm looking at this case, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, someone wrote here, makes me sick how they pressed her. I would have to agree. The way this is handled was very awful. And I think in that scenario, the way that she was behaving was out of fear. I think the way she was behaving in that scenario, she was fearful of Brian. She was fearful, you know, if he did, in fact, she admitted to the domestic violence situation. In those scenarios, the victim is going to be scared of their aggressor. So this guy has been known to be aggressive, has had episodes, has been toxic. And that's where I kind of have a problem. So he's probably really stressed out. You know, there's allegations out there that he was off his medication, that he had some issues mentally, mental health issues. So that night, you know, they put him in this motel, a $78 motel. Probably not the best place. Probably, you know, he's not going to relax too much. He's probably still reeling. In front of those cops, he really manipulated the situation to say he's a really laid-back, non-aggressive guy. But in reality, we know that's not the case. So in this scenario, he stays at this motel. The motel is about a 13-minute drive or walk, a 17-minute drive from the site of where the newlyweds were murdered. Okay, this is the tea. So the newlyweds were murdered the day after
Yeah.
he was put in that motel.
This town didn't have any murders for 15 years. Can you imagine? Wow. And Brian Laundrie shows up at the same day when there was this police call. Maybe he really thought that this woman reported him. I think she was working at Moonflower. Maybe he saw her and maybe he assumed she reported him. It might be. And this woman said that they saw this camping guy, very odd camping guy, and he said to the cops in the video that they said like, oh, we're gonna put you in the hotel, and he's like, oh no, I'm gonna go into a tent. Remember this part? You can rewind it. Really, it might be him. Like, what a coincidence. 15 years, no murders. Brian Laundrie comes and there's a murder. After he was after somebody told him that he was beating her. It must be him. But the thing is, I wonder if he had a gun or not. Of course, if he didn't have a gun, maybe he bought it. I have no
Motel.
idea.
So I just want to read you the allegations here. So on August 12th, Brian and Laundrie and Gabby fight at the Moonflower Co-op in Moab, where Kylan Shute is a cashier. So Kylan is one of the people that were murdered. Civilian calls 911 to report.
So he actually knew how she was looking. Yeah, he probably assumed she called. I guess so.
Report the incident of Brian trying to drive off in the van without Gabby while taking her phone.
Yeah, this theory is like really, it might be true, but what if he didn't have a gun? Maybe this woman had a gun and he took her gun, like, very odd. No murders in 15 years. He comes. They were talking about a creepy guy. They were shot dead. So maybe he had a gun, that's why she was so scared. Maybe he bought a gun while she was like in a store somewhere. That's so odd.
As Gabby gets back in the van before taking off. That afternoon, Brian and Gabby are pulled over in Moab and on police body cam footage. Cops have Gabby take the van that night and have Brian stay in the Bowen Motel in Moab. So this is where it gets interesting. On August 13th, Brian presumably sleeps at the Bowen Motel and wakes up there.
Why if we can just take a motel video? They should do it. Look, I wonder if they had a camera. They should have. There is no evidence of where Brian was between August 13 morning until August 24th, when Gabby FaceTimes her mother. I wonder what Gabby said to her mother on August 24th. Bowen Motel is a 7-minute walk to this tavern in Moab, which is the last place that Kylan Schulte and Crystal Turner were seen alive. 9:30 p.m. That night they stayed at a creepy stain next to them at their campsite. It must be him, because he said he is going to stay in the camp, in the tent. It must be him. Kylan and Crystal were found dead on La Salle Mountain Top Road at their campsite by a friend. Wow. I thought they were killed in their home. Wow. Campsite. So, were they living on like a trailer or something? They didn't have a house? Oh man. Or maybe Brian had this like a manic rage or something, and they just were there and he tried to take his rage on other people. Might be the case as well. Bowen Motel is a 15-minute drive to La Salle Mountain. or a 3-hour and 40-minute walk on foot. Brian's sister stated to the press whenever they fight, they would take a little break and come back and be fine. Because that's what you do in a couple. What? Is it possible that after the dispute they had in the van that they decided to separate for a bit to take a break? And if that were true, isn't it the possibility that Brian could have ended up camping out at the same location? Very probably. It's very probable. But and having set up camp there before Kyle and Crystal went. Wait, with this tavern, so they were found dead. Wait, so it was with this tavern? Oh, that was the last place they were seen at. I see, but they were camping on the top road, La Salle Mountain top road. La Salle Mountain. Okay. How's it was called? Where is it? Where was it? I lost it. Wait. Top road. La Salle Mountain top road. No. Mountain top road. Where is the top road? Whispering Oaks Ranch. Spanish Valley. Moab. Oh, so Moab is here? Let me check Utah. Okay. I think he actually killed them. La Salle Mountain. Top road. Camp. Could you see the campsite from above or something? Probably we couldn't. Wait, maybe it's here? It might be here. See? There's some kind of. It looks like a camp truck, like a camping van here, you see? There are like little camping sites or houses. There's a house. Insane. But why Brian would go so far? 3-hour walk. Like, in my opinion, it's very far away. What is this? Texas Gulf? Potash Pound. What is this blue tree? Palm tree. I wonder what is this? Where's my lab? Here. So it's quite far, I would say. No. Moab Diner. Hotel Moab. Moab. It's not a big place. Oh, Moonflower. That's the place. Crib map. And the motel was this, I think. Bowen. Star Hotel. Bowen. 87 euros now. Price increased. Hilton Moab. 192. Yeah, so they were fighting on this side. Poor Gabby, I can't just imagine being abused like this and then defending this piece of shit, like. And that this women were killed by some kind of creepy camper. If they saw a creepy camper, they had to flee this place, man. You always have to trust your gut.
The morning of August 13th, there's no evidence of where Brian could take a break. And if that were true, isn't it a possibility that... So I don't know about you guys, but that gave me chills. And it's not just because my window is open, but, you know, I think there is some weight to this. Basically, you know, he's not known to be one to want to really stay in a motel. That $78 motel said, like, no dogs allowed on the door. You know, it wasn't really the most friendly looking motel, no offense. It's $78, probably not the most comfortable. He likes to be outdoors. He's an outdoorsy guy. So he could have very well just went to a campsite and was very...
Yeah, because on the video he said, oh, I will just take a tent. Yeah, I think he wasn't even in this hotel. He probably waited there and just came back right after. And yeah, I think so, he did that.
Upset over the aggression of, you know, the fight he had with Gabby Petito, where he nearly was put in jail and he was separated and he was so angry. He could have very well have taken out his frustration on those two women.
Yeah, that was my idea. Yeah, theory. I actually thought about that. Yeah. But yeah, like, how could he know, like, if this woman told that he was beating her? Like, he didn't see who called. So yeah, it might be actually. Maybe he was like a homophobic or something, you don't know. That's why as well. Because there was a report that these women were... their like underwear were up and stuff like that. He kind of like made fun of them, which is sick. Yeah, he's definitely like unhinged. I wonder if they must take DNA samples from this woman and compare it to laundries. And they don't even need Brian's DNA because they actually can compare it to his parents' DNA, and that would be like a 90% match, like not 90, but like 45% match. So you know that they were family, you know. They have to test this DNA. This poor two woman, I can't. So sick. Imagine being there in the wilderness and some creep is like hunting you, like.
And so that's the tea. There's people new here joining. You know, we're right now talking about a clip I haven't seen thus far. I just was telling everybody at the beginning of this live stream that I didn't actually watch the body cam footage in full. I found it way too hard to watch. It was very difficult to watch. Even when I went back to do this editing, I got really kind of emotional about it because I was just like, I don't want to get into it. I'll probably start getting even more emotional when I watch it. But yeah, so there's new footage that has or has not been released. I don't want to be accused of doing any sort of fake news here, but there is now footage out on the internet of inside the motel where Brian Laundrie were separated from Gabby Petito. So let's get right into it to the new people. Here we go.
What'd you do? Did you all set up in your hotel room? and he's going to take care of it from here.
All right.
All right. And like I said, just remember my requests. I think it'll make a big difference in you guys.
Showed up when how he was being treated by police. I mean, we're talking about a guy that literally, 13 days after this, potentially murdered his fiance. And I feel like there was, it doesn't sit really well with me. There was a missed opportunity there. This is why I think maybe, police officers shouldn't be the go-to person to deal with domestic violence disputes. There should be more social workers out there willing to show up with the police to really suss out the situation. Because if you're not used to working with domestic abuse victims, you would probably just read it for what it is. But if we play back the video of her in the body cam footage, of her in the backseat being hysterical, crying, to me, you know what she looks like? She looks like she's scared. So this is the next video I'm going to play. And it's very, very quiet. But the main things I want you to pick out here is the cops asking very leading questions. Now, I'm not a professional interrogator, but I know as a journalist that, using leading questions in a dialogue setting isn't the best way to get an honest answer. So the cop asks her, where did you hit him? So let's just play that clip.
Where'd you hit him?
Where'd you hit him? Like, one of the first questions asked was, where did you hit him? Painting her out to be the aggressor.
Yeah.
And that it was actually...
Like, the call said, like, he was hitting her. So why he twists everything up and, like, you assaulted him? Like, why they believe a male more than a female? And this like story with his ex, like, oh, my ex-wife that's why my ex-wife, like, so cocky. Like, I cannot stand this cocky guys. Like, man, it's like they weren't evaluated before they got the badge. Like,
validated by the police report. The police report actually said that he was a battered man.
better man, really. Like, he was all smiles, laughter, and can I take your radio? He was acting silly, like, I don't know, like a 5-year-old kid.
And this is kind of where I'm getting at is, I think in that situation she was so scared of telling the truth that because she knows how Brian behaves in those scenarios. He has episodes in the past where he's gotten extremely violent. I think multiple times on my video I showed the body cam search of him, how they quickly just did a quick little search of him where he lifted up his top and turned around. Not even a pat down. I think in an airport you get searched more than that. The fact that there's a potentially domestic abuse situation, I also would love for people next time I play that clip to really look out for the bruises that are on her arm. I mean, it's no joke. Like, I think the cops in that situation really didn't handle it very well. They are being investigated, but I think hindsight is 20/20. But I can't help but feel like in that situation it wasn't handled the best. Just because somebody is very superficial and very buddy with you doesn't mean they're like that behind doors. In fact, it probably would make it more suspicious, the fact that he is acting so happy and carefree when he just got allegedly beat up. I think there's some red flags there. So there's a ton of new people in here. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate that. We're at 2,971. So for those of us just joining here, we're talking about newly released footage from inside the hotel. Now, I don't want to be fingers pointed at me because sometimes I do these live streams and I don't really know if this footage has been released and if everybody else has seen it. But this is entirely new to me. There is newly released footage of inside the motel, and it's a very short clip. It's a bit shoddy, but there's 3,000 people here, so I think it's worth it to really play this clip again and let me know what you guys think of it. So.
Yeah, he knows getting away with anything. Yeah, of course, that's why he killed her. Somebody in the comments say that he came home for a week from 17 to 24th. Met the Gabby at the hotel in Salt Lake City, really? But really, like, I don't know if it's true, but like, why? I have to check her media, her Instagram and see like, was she posting any pictures? I don't remember the name of her Instagram account. You won't believe this. Brian unfollowed 2 people. Yesterday he was following 39 people, and today he's following only 37. He is alive, I'm telling you. Of course he's alive. Look, are you kidding me? August 13. There is a picture on August 13th. Imagine after beating Gabby up, he was uploading pictures and writing about chimpanzees. Like, are you dumb? Canyonlands National Park. Yeah, so he unfollowed 2 people. I need to check if I took the screenshot of his account yesterday. Yeah, I did actually. It was yesterday. 39 people. And he unfollowed 2 people today. Yeah, he's alive, of course. Like, come on. Yeah, 2 people are unfollowed by him. Unless these 2 people blocked him, but I don't think so. Can you imagine, like, of course he has a phone. Like, what are you even talking about? And I think he tried to ban live. This is not your van, dumbass. Can you imagine? He has a site that is called Nomadic Static. So I guess this Twitter account is his Nomad Track. Let me check this Nomadic Static. Brian and Gabby out of the Wi-Fi. Be here soon. A month ago uploaded the video. On which day? I'm checking their YouTube. On August 20th. So yeah, he's alive. He unfollowed 2 people on Instagram.
Tyson?
Yep.
Officer Robin still called for me?
He did, yes.
This is Brian Laundrie.
Alright.
So he's gonna get you all set up with your hotel room, and he's gonna take care of it from here.
Alright.
Alright? And like I said, just remember...
We already saw all of that. Let's check. Domestic Violence Awareness Month, famous in North Korea, not interesting. Utah, fall colors, beautiful place. High stakes, Do we have any updates now? Former Patriots, 2 children, no. Biden, no. There are no other notifications. No. Brad Billy. Gabby Petito, cops says abuse victims end up getting killed. That cop is like the worst of the worst. Well, the worst is this. I even forgot his name. The one that killed George Floyd. Yeah, he was leading so much like, oh, you hit him, like, she never said that, and you know. So yeah, like, I'm going to wait for the updates. If you want to check my Twitter account is called Convertuoso with a C, and I will upload my screenshots of Brian. Yesterday he was following 39 people. I made the screenshot just to see if he was online or not, because I heard from comments that he wasn't following people, and yeah, he still isn't following more people. Yesterday there were 39 people he was following, and today is only 37. So yeah, he is alive and well with his phone. Wait, if he has a phone, he should have a place to charge his phone then. You know, my theory is maybe he is in some kind of attic in his sister's home. Like, why police is not checking her home? They should check every home of his relatives. They should check the van, they should check the attic, search for a like secret door or something, I don't know. But he's definitely, yeah, that means if he can charge his phone, he has electricity. That means he's in someone's home. Definitely not a hotel, because he would be recognized easily, unless he maybe changed all his appearance, but I'm not sure. But of course, if he gets a wig, if he shaves his beard, if he is wearing a mask, if he is like maybe in that way, but shouldn't you have like a passport to get a motel room? At least it's like this in Europe. I don't know about USA. I bet he is with his family, probably in his sister's home, 100%, because like she said she didn't see him, and she saw him twice. He actually came to her with Gabby's van, I think, and the next day it was on the campsite, whatever is it called, the Soto Park or something. So he is alive and well, and he's probably laughing at all of us, but people aren't dumb. We know what he did. What a disgusting scum. You know, if I was her mother or father, I'm sorry, I would catch him and I would kill him, really. And he would never be found again. But actually, no, I would be afraid that he would kill me, you know. He's insanely dangerous. He's like, oh, like, you never know who the killer is, actually. I think, I would say maybe 80% that he killed those women. Really. A creep camper. He looks like a creep. He is very creepy, especially if he tried to talk to them. You know, maybe he started making all these stupid jokes and that comes off real creepy. I don't know how cops didn't pick up on that. Like, I'm gonna take your radio. Like, what? That was insanely odd. Very odd guy, some kind of autistic or something. So yeah, I'm gonna check the news. It's very late. It's almost 3 a.m. now, and it's time to sleep. I think I was streaming for like 2 hours now. And maybe I will do some kind of other video tomorrow. Well, that is a very sad situation. And we'll talk about this later a little bit more. Be safe and be happy.